All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Creatives Talk Crypto Brainstorm sessions.
How's it going, gang?
Yeah.
We like to kind of preface the beginning of these with kind of talking about how this is we're not planning on this being a Zoom podcast. This is kind of our just discussions, brainstorming, kind of talking about things as we want to flesh out the ideas. But there's so much going on specifically with Theta Network right now. It would be silly to wait until we could do the podcast in its full glory that we hope it to be. So we're just starting now.
This is too much. This is too juicy to have to talk about.
Yeah, and we'd have these conversations anyways. Why not record them and put them out, and maybe other people will find them interesting or informative.
Exactly.
Because we're not. Once again, we like to also preface: we're not going to be chasing the charts. We're going to be talking about all the.
Looked at them.
Yeah. Oh, I've looked at them.
Well,
I'm not going to lie.
We've looked at them, but like.
I'm more of the treasurer of our combined our crypto efforts because we're still small time. We're not investors. We're kind of. It's like Drew has been saying, exploring the space. You got a little bit of skin in the game, so you can explore the space, figure out how it works, what's going on. So yeah, the big things going on with Theta right now is their NFT Marketplace that's launching.
Yeah,
and I think
that's gonna be crazy big.
It's really exciting because the first one that they're launching, their first partner is World Poker Tour, and that's one of those.
That's huge.
Yeah, and that's one of those fan bases that you don't think about. You're like, oh, World Poker Tour, that's kind of cool. And you're like, no, that's such a niche audience.
And they've all been online for years.
That's
now,
the type
too.
of people.
Oh, and they're also like down to spend ludicrous amounts of money on random ass stuff.
They
understand, just bizarre things.
And they understand the like they use tokens in gambling, and with the online poker, you're converting money to. And I'm sure I know for a fact actually there's Bitcoin poker. I'm not sure if it's as common anymore, but because Bitcoin's so expensive now, but it used to be popular when it was cheaper. So yeah,
I'm sure it still is.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there's still places for big rollers.
You're probably just bidding stashies, right? Like,
yeah. Who knows? But yeah, anyways, the what's kind of cool about them, I guess there's 140 million viewers that brings in, potential viewers that will see the connection with Theta, which is really cool.
Which is super cool.
Actually, I'm going to zoom in on our notes
10% of that's 140,000 to see the network if they come in.
So they call them real-time NFTs. So I think I actually misunderstood this at first because I was like, real-time NFTs, but maybe this is true. I was thinking, so you're watching a game and say a legendary moment happens in that game, are you able to start bidding on that minted moment as an NFT almost instantly?
See, that's what I thought that meant too. That's what that says to me.
Yeah, I want
like, oh my god, we just cleared this level of match and whatever it is. Like, oh my god, what an upset moment! Somebody goes all in and they were wrong on their whatever full bluff, right? Bam! The minute that happens, that's already on the blockchain, and you can buy that moment.
And it's minted as like a trading card.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense if the tech can facilitate that, and I'm sure that's something that, it makes a lot of sense from the article here that I have listed in our notes, and from the reading I've done, it seems to be more talking about the bidding of them during a real time, like while you're watching. Yeah. So you'll be watching one of these. I think the first one is on April 18th, one of these World Poker Tour matches. And during that match, you'll be able to bid on a special NFT that's, placed for that moment.
Oh,
so it involves you watching in real time and bidding, and there's some kind of...
Okay, so it's not just that you can mint the moment in real time. There is real-time engagement to add too.
I think that's what they mean at the moment. I think they mean real-time engagement at the moment. But
I also think that that's a thing where you might not get the NFT at that moment. But if something happens and people are like, boom, I want that. That's the real-time engagement moment, I think. I think I see what you're getting at here.
Yeah, we may be misunderstanding and then kind of just seeing the future here of what could potentially be happening like 5 years from now is if they can mint, real-time, exactly. And you wouldn't own the licensing for that or anything like that. You would just own off of the network. Own that
slice of time.
Yeah, whatever, and off of the network it'd be minted as like some sort of
part of that
trading
blockchain
card or something like that, separate from its entity from the provided content delivery.
So was it Harry Potter chocolate frog cards, right? Like the hologram. Right, except for you get to keep it for as long as you have the NFT. You give the NFT away, your hologram goes away.
Yeah, basically just like throwing someone a tablet of a 5-second clip. Here you go. Now you have the exact.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy! That's happened, and you can just stick it down there.
I've heard also other possible use cases for betting. So you could.
Oh yeah.
All these things. So you could have these NFT tokens represent your stake on a certain outcome, and then you could use them
For sure.
to,
Oh my God, what a way to revolutionize Vegas, right?
Yeah.
I think
we no longer deal in cash, we deal in crypto.
Yeah. And obviously we've talked about a few times just the meme nature of NFTs, and it actually went viral to the point where I think people, like my mom knows what NFTs are, and she doesn't really know what other cryptocurrency stuff is. They made like a really corny SNL skit about it.
It's a huge. Okay, well, case in point. I don't know if you guys familiar with Ali Spagnola.
From you, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so Mike knows who she is. So she just sold, so she's been doing a free artwork project for like freaking 14 years where text her or whatever every month and you can get a free painting. You just get added to the queue and she will make you whatever little 9x9 painting and she takes a picture of it, yada, yada, yada. But that's now become a journey and she took a master picture of like all of them at one point using other, like she has obviously saved images of each of them. And then minted that as an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain and sold that for like $500,000.
Oh, okay. I think I saw that, and obviously it looks like a giant collage from zoomed out.
Yeah, it's a just gigantic collage. It almost looks like a postcard thumb or whatever.
I didn't see the name connected to it.
Super cool.
Yeah. I did see,
but that was
Spags.
Spags.
I know exactly what you're talking
so
about.
That is crazy cool, and that's like with NFTs coming from Theta. That's just another avenue. Like we're talking about Theta TV, so that just threw me in a rabbit hole of so for creative streamers, bye Twitch, I can literally real time mint your artwork on commission via NFT.
Yeah, it's
right way to poach the entire creative community to a way different platform, right? Like that's crazy.
But going back to like Mike's understanding of it too, it's also a great way to keep your eyeballs on the Theta Network. Is if you tell them that, hey, at certain egg points during the show, there's going to be an Easter egg, and if you're tuned in, you might be able to get it, and that Easter egg could potentially be worth $10,000. It's going to get a lot of people.
I believe actually they've been kind of testing that concept. Because when I watched the Mars rover landing on Theta TV, I got an NFT.
Tune into a big thing on NASA. You get a random
and they only gave out a couple hundred out of thousands of people watching it. I believe at this point, the purpose of the Theta TV NFTs are just for in-site use, like emotes and stuff like that.
I think it's like a live beta test, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they're kind of seeing, how many people can we pull? They had another one for the Leprechaun viewing. How many people can we pull if we're watching, if we're streaming Leprechaun, and we're also offering limited edition NFTs at the same time? You're driving engagement too, and it's another way to reward people for watching. Not only are they getting the T-Fuel and that whole ecosystem through the caching, they're potentially getting a collectible
piece, right?
Yeah.
Well, and so like I was trying to explain to my mom about the concept of NFTs and ownership, right? Because she's like, okay, I keep hearing it, and I know you tried to explain it. It's like, okay, you don't get it because you're not a gamer. You're not an achievement hunter. You're not a collectible hunter. Especially younger generations. Like, I'm not even that much of a collectible hunter. And like, it took me a bit to get the whole why I would want one, but now I get it, right? Like, this totally makes sense. It's definitely the way of the future. But like, to somebody who doesn't understand that, I get why you wouldn't. Why? It's a digital hat. Who cares? Yeah, but it's my digital hat, and it's brown. The other ones are white. This one's brown, and it's mine. Did I mention that it's mine and it's brown?
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not real. It's digital. How dare you tell me it's not real, right? Like it's a totally a different concept of ownership that I think that younger generations are definitely way more in tune with than everybody older than us. And that's not to say that there aren't older people who get it as well, but I think there's definitely a break-even point. And if you think this is aimed at like boomers, they don't care. They're definitely aiming at the under 30 crowd, like definitely the under 20 crowd even for some of that stuff. Because who wants more collectible things than teenagers?
It's going to be a big thing amongst thrift shoppers because they're designed to
true.
look for deals. And if you know anything about fashion at all, you'll go in there and you go straight to the Levi jeans. And if you know your numbers,
Yeah.
you can find jeans that are worth hundreds of dollars, and you can buy them for $5, $10. And there are a lot of those people, and they know a lot about a lot of different things. A lot about T-shirts, a lot about companies. Like fashion is very close to NFT too, because it doesn't really, the materials don't differ all that much, but that
No.
logo says
Yeah.
a lot about that price tag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because kind of going back to what we had talked about on a previous episode was the non-fungible token just means something that can't be replicated. It's just it's
unique.
And I think what is creating a obviously the art and the money attached to it is creating the hype, but I've also seen a lot of people saying NFTs are bullshit and they're just silly, and they're also, not understanding that, no, that's the way that you think that they're silly are sometimes silly. This is an underlying
sometimes too,
technology. It's it's more than
meme.
just
The meme is silly.
Yeah, exactly. But it represents data, digital ownership of things. And that's gonna, like Jeff had mentioned before, that could and very well will start representing property, like real property, not Decentraland property, but like your house will be verified on a blockchain. So you know how people have these people get their identity stolen, and then sometimes their house stolen from them and stuff. If you have all of your identity and everything on your own block, in a cold storage wallet,
That's
and
actually
you've got all
a
your
really
stuff.
Valid point. Like investing in as a technology, or I guess it's as a future security technology for social identity or whatever, which seems really I don't know, Orwellian in one sense, but the fact that there's an anonymity to the blockchain as well, it gives it a little bit of security as the end user, that it can't be used for nefarious purposes, because you need me to agree. If I don't agree, you're stuck with your half and it's useless. Good luck. I think that's definitely something to be used for personal security. Maybe not as a centralized thing, but definitely as like a personal security factor, right? Like if you could somehow make your own blockchain, if that was easy to do, and use that as like I don't know, that's its own thing. That's its own thing.
Before quickly getting back to the World Poker Tour stuff, I think that's kind of what Cardano's doing. Is they're trying to be the most trustless, decentralized blockchain, so you feel more at ease doing something with, because it's even Theta is you've got 14 enterprise validator nodes run by Google, Sony, Gumi, all these massive corporations,
all these huge people.
There's an aspect of centralization there, and I believe that there's plans as it grows. That's one of the things that Theta is doing, that they're taking a step-by-step approach. They know if we want this to be long-lasting, we can't make it fully decentralized right away. We need this to be a successful protocol and network, and then once it's up and running, we can start to do the decentralized thing to get our roots into the ground.
Build a brand trust.
Actually, none of us are really kind of poker people, but it's really exciting to see the World Poker Tour kick off these NFTs. What I'm personally more excited about is the Sony partnership and what can come with all of that.
Yeah, that's definitely super, super exciting. Well, I mean, like I know enough about poker to know that if it has its own goddamn TV network station, that it's big a deal. Like that people watch this. Lots of people watch it.
Yeah, and it'll be a great it's a loyal audience. It'll be a great way to test how this concept's going to go, and I'm really excited to see it scale and see what happens there.
Absolutely.
With Sony, obviously, we'll see. They've got their
music.
Yeah, they got the music, the gaming, they got all that kind of stuff.
I'm excited to see what it can do for the musicians.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll be on the forefront of experimenting with that. I really, really wanted. It's been a big part of my mandate, I guess, as an engineer producer, is to take away this kind of gatekeeper mentality. And the catchphrase I kind of use is kind of take away the technical barriers. These musicians that are good songwriters, they know what they want. They just are frustrated with software constantly changing and having, like, whenever they want to sit down and be creative, they have to troubleshoot for 20 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah, they're not techs, but being a musician in this day and age requires you to be a bit of a technician.
Exactly. And hopefully we can start to use some of this Theta tech to introduce, and this podcast in its full form, to introduce musicians to being like, hey, you may not have to understand the fundamentals, but you should start understanding the concept of why this will help you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Start lightening their load and start putting money in their pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There was the last thing I have here about the NFTs in particular was some of the Theta community on Twitter went down a little bit of a Pokemon Go rabbit hole. I think I told you guys off on Messenger.
Yeah, you're talking about it.
It was just all fun and speculation, but because all these blockchains are open and you can read stuff.
Right.
So if you go to thetascan.io, you can read the activity on the blockchain. And for some reason, no one noticed it, but about 2 months ago, someone minted the original 151 Pokemon as separate tokens on Theta, but with varying amounts, in like crazy amounts. So like, I think from the most common, like the Pokeballs, there was like 1 trillion of them, and then the most rare, there was only 1,000 and stuff like that. So whoever did it, if they were doing it for fun, they did it with a full purpose, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
and had to spend money minting those. That's
that's
at
the
least
thing.
a little bit.
That costs money to do that. So that
trillions.
definitely goes into like some sort of crypto-based game involving.
That's what I was thinking.
Pokemon. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
because another thing that's cool about ThetaScan is you can follow the money, so to speak. Is you can be like, okay, what address holds these tokens, and what address minted them, and you can kind of go back like, oh, this address sent this one a whole bunch of T-Fuel. There's someone with money experimenting with this, whoever it is. So it was kind of interesting. There's when you've got investor partners like Samsung and Google, you can find a connection between Theta and anyone if you look hard enough.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is, but I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, like there's people that will be messing around with Theta for no other reason than Samsung or Google is involved.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like
exactly.
that's kind of, they're like, oh, Samsung's involved in this? Oh, I wonder what that's about.
I want to know what Samsung's doing, exactly.
All right. Oh, so another cool thing, man, I don't know if you guys are Twitter people. I literally just made one a month and a half ago just to follow crypto stuff. I got a Facebook like 7 years late. I got a Twitter like 12 years late. But hey, it is what it is.
I've never been a big Twitter person. I don't know why. I feel like I'm not that much of an interesting person, and I don't have the ability to just endlessly voice my opinions to the void. So like, it's not for me. But I like looking at other. I like to lurk, and I like to look at other people's bullshit.
That's kind of what.
So that's good for Twitter for me, right? Like I enjoy that. Instagram's different. Like Instagram, I like taking pictures of stuff and sharing what I find interesting. But like, I don't know, Twitter, I've never understood.
I agree from that perspective. I don't, and I'm using our Solaris Studios Twitter. I'm not posting anything really. I'm retweeting some cool Theta news every now and then, and kind of trying to engage the community.
It's an interesting way to network.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to community build and network. And I guess if you've got an active community, it's a way to like just kind of shout at your community and have them go, oh, shout back. I can scream back at you and go, oh, I like that. Cool, thank you.
And it's kind
of one of my favorite guys, Brian. He does that all the time. He'll just put a poll up for something like,
right.
I have a random question that I have a query about. Go, internet, answer me. Right?
Let's see what you got.
Yeah, instant feedback.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool too because we've been just kind of releasing these into the void and mostly promoting them on our Facebook and Instagram, where we don't necessarily have a lot of reach into people that like cryptocurrency specifically. So it's been cool. The last one that we did, I posted on Twitter after engaging with the community for a bit and tagged, Theta and T-Fuel, and we got a bunch of likes and retweets. Whether that translated into people watching the full episode, who knows? But it's kind of cool to see people excited.
That's cool.
They see, a podcast talking about Theta. I'm like, whether I'm going to watch it or not, I support this. Which is
if you guys are watching, we love you.
Yeah, you're the best. You're number one.
We're going to start having like a lot of cool multimedia on here soon, like musicians performing and graphic artists coming in and talking about that. And with that, we'll hopefully have exclusive NFTs. So when the goal is to be streaming live on either on Theta or using the Theta protocol and engaging with everyone that way instead of doing the pre-records
Eventually, you won't want to miss this.
Yeah, doing these live will be a blast. different experience.
You got to
for
have a
sure.
long-term goal. You can't just start with the end goal and then
No.
be like, oh, I'm never going to start because I can't do my final iteration.
That was like my first attempt at a commercial podcast. Literally, we hit the ground running with like a website and a Patreon, and I was like, yeah, but nobody knows who you are or why they should bother give you anything. What do you matter? Make people that interest you first, and then if they're like, yo, can I give you something? Be like, oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, the one exception to that, I would say, and it's not really exception, but something I found interesting, a musician recently did the math between Spotify stream payouts and Patreon followers.
Yeah.
You only need about 5 people to follow you on Patreon to be making more than most people get on their Spotify streams.
Yeah.
So if you're a musician
disturbing.
and you can get like 5 people to follow you on Patreon, that's actually worth doing even before you've built up a huge fan base, which is pretty funny.
That's crazy.
100%.
The actual stat
It's
I
super
heard
doable.
was this guy. He was
Easily.
an electronic pop music musician who has won
Yeah.
a Grammy. He wasn't super famous. I personally didn't know him, but he's very successful. He's won a Grammy. He's got millions of monthly active listeners on Facebook or on Spotify. Sorry, and he has maybe 100, 150 Patreon people, and that pays more than his monthly active listeners on Spotify.
That's crazy.
So you've got
makes
millions
sense.
versus 100 or something like that.
Damn.
Because if you
That's
can
crazy.
charge
I mean-
$5 to each one of those people.
Yeah, 5 to 25, maybe scaling up depending.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
mean, you look at something like I remember when Patreon first launched. One of the ones that first came out that was huge was Daily Tech News Show with Tom Narrett. When he brought that show independent and was like, holy crap, I made more in Patreon in the first month than I was making a year. And that was literally just with people going, I love this, go.
Yeah.
Right? Like he did incredibly well and still does incredibly well. You know, there's lots of really great talent on Patreon that they wouldn't get any support any other way.
No.
You know, and you get some really unique stuff too. Like there's a channel I follow on YouTube, Only in Japan Go, with John Daub, and he's an American expat. He's a wonderful, wonderful man, and he has got a Patreon postcard club. So it's limited. There's not that many slots every month, and the top slot is I think only 1 or 2, and they get like a sumo box, and it's like a little bento style box
sick,
of
yeah.
gifts of random things from where they've been in that month,
Right.
right? And like that's a very unique item. And going from Patreon to flip this into like a crypto thing, you can do that sort of thing if you have a community built around a Theta channel or something else, be whatever it is, and you start minting unique NFTs for your followers in your community.
Absolutely.
Right? This is something that only your community can have, that you made for them. Right?
new
That's a
form of
unique
merch.
connection.
And there's a bit more of
Yeah, it's a new form of merch.
there's a bit more of a censorship resistance to it as well.
Yes.
And what's kind of interesting is I've got mixed opinions on all that stuff. You don't want to attract like the scum of the earth to using a protocol.
No.
But at the same time, we know there's other things where people get their stuff taken off of, like Patreon, for example, that are just journalists that aren't
Yeah.
connecting well with what they're writing about. And that person should
Yeah.
be able to not have all of their stuff deleted even with no warning. You know, it's happened a few
Yeah,
times.
just be like, you know what, never mind, you're gone. And it's one of those like, sure, you're. And at the end of the day, with something like Patreon, it's a private company. They can make and choose whatever it is. I think that's bad business practice, especially if you're supposed to be a content creation platform. But hey, what do I know? But something like a crypto-based system, well, again, I hold half the key. You need me to do that. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to sit here and enjoy my little space. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no, it personally just happened to me with my Instagram. It just,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
my Instagram thought I was a bot and deleted itself, and there's no recourse. There's
No, there is no recourse for
nothing
that.
you can
That's
do about it.
ludicrous.
All your
Oh, I
content's
saw.
just gone.
Yeah, one of our conversations turned into
So-
active or inactive user or whatever.
Yeah, so I had to
sucks,
start a
dude.
whole new page, and it is what it is. But I mean, it just goes to show you that, like, yeah,
And as a photographer, that's not like, oh, my Instagram. That's like, no, I was
my
getting
business.
work
yeah,
off that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
But
had a decent
unfortunately, we
following. Now I got to
determined-
start all over again, and it's
We've
difficult with all
determined
their
based on
algorithms.
the follower count and how
And
quickly
you
got
can
there,
only
and the
follow a
fact that
certain
it's
amount of
just
people
pictures.
a day because you're beholden to their rules because
Right.
you can't, basically you have to-
Invisible rules,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
and always changing.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
one
and
day
also always
it's
changing.
20 follows, the next day it's 40 follows, but every day I'll hit it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, if you follow any more people, we're gonna ban you again. And I was like, well, how am I supposed to get my following back
Yeah.
if I can't follow and let them know that I still exist again.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, well, no, we've determined you're a bot. It's like, fuck right off.
Yeah.
That's actually
No.
I'm not sure how they're gonna be doing it, but Theta's got an fraudulent type process. They're teaming up with Chainlink, another crypto-based
Interesting.
project, to and Chainlink is an oracle, which is to my limited understanding the interface between the blockchain and real world tech type stuff. So it'll
Okay, got you. So it's like a go-between.
Yeah, it'll allow Theta to implement some kind of, because when you think about it, if you're starting a network, we're like, oh yeah, if the more views, the more T fuel. People are gonna be like, well, I'm just gonna create 1 million bots to make
then
their
just
own
watch
T
it,
fuel.
Yeah.
So they're thinking
Yeah.
about that. They're not.
Yeah, no, because that's like literally like dumb hacker thought number one. Lol, I'll just make a bunch of bots and bot myself, right? It's like it's a very real problem that Twitch went through, and still battles to this day.
I was gonna say because
You know?
when I watch Netflix, I'll literally turn it on in the morning, and it's on in the background. It's like a record for me basically. I'll just put it on like New Girl or something,
Yeah.
Right.
and it'll stop playing, and then I'll go by. I'll hit the button, and the whole
Star Trek.
series.
On days off, I've been rewatching Next Generation, so that's been my background noise.
Yeah.
I just get up, start season, go.
So I
Doing
am
other things, Star
actually
Trek playing in the
watching it. I'm not a
background.
bot, but I am
Yeah.
having very bot-like activity.
Right.
Yeah, I have very minimal engagement.
I understand
with this.
how
yeah.
difficult it would be to try and decipher. But I mean, like, it'd be nice if I could. I mean, I remember they popped up a thing that were like, find all the fire hydrants. And, I did that, verify that I was a human, and
Yeah.
they still deleted it. And I was like, well, I don't know what else I could have done there.
Yeah, I knew where the
thanks
fire.
I thought
to
that was
free
the
AI
test.
research. Get out of here.
I'm a
That
human.
was the test.
Yeah. And you failed.
proved
You're
you
not
were
a
human.
human. I was like, damn it.
No, you failed. You were successful. You proved you were human. That was valuable market research. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah. See you later, click. I'm like, oh.
I don't know if I mentioned it on this show or not, but I've said for years that when they changed that CAPTCHA that was based on all the little pictures, that was Google outsourcing their AI research to just us.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Because they're looking into, say,
Yeah.
driving a car.
Yeah.
Hey, is this a car?
It's
No,
all
I don't
stuff that
determine
cars.
that a car.
Yeah, it's all stuff that cars would want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like,
honestly, that's
you think
I
5
can't
seconds.
I can't get mad at that, but at least
No, that's smart.
it is what it is. So one of
No,
the
I think that's a smart idea.
Yeah. One of the reasons I kind of got excited back to Theta more directly and wanted to kind of get another episode up and going was we noticed their edge node count fluctuating wildly,
All
which
over
is
the
also
place.
why I think I'm going to name this one called Calm Before the Storm, just because I think
Nice.
there's something really cool happening. There's another shout out to actually, this is kind of where I was going to when I mentioned the Twitter Theta community. There's someone named Dax who's created an app called Theta Metry, and I believe it's an app where you can monitor your edge node performance and a whole bunch of different stats about it. So for us, where this might actually, we don't know where things will take us. Right now, we're running a couple of edge nodes just off of our own computers and whatnot. But we very well may end up running a rack server full of edge nodes. Who knows? We might have virtual machines running edge nodes. We might have 24 of them, potentially. So we'll want an easy way to check the performance and the stats of all this kind of stuff without having to go and open up everything and be like, how's my thing doing?
We'll make a
doing?
Threadripper build and buy up all the graphics cards we can find. Lol, just kidding, they don't exist.
Whew, I was going to say, yeah.
So
They
this
don't
guy
exist.
is really awesome to follow on Twitter because he's very smart and
Yeah, very, very knowledgeable.
and is posting things that I find personally interesting. So he was doing, I believe, along with his work with this Theta Metry, he's been monitoring where these node fluctuations have been happening. So we went from like 30,000 edge nodes up to over 60, back down to 30, up to like 75, and back down to 40, all over the place like that. And they've been popping up in these clusters that are very obviously like data centers.
Yeah, definitely data centers. Like
So-
that's the only explanation.
And what's kind of cool is a couple of, and they were happening all over the place, but a couple of the hotspots that were interesting was there was 8,000 of them popped up somewhere in Cyprus, which I guess is a really popular data center place where they have massive
Yes.
internet infrastructure companies operate out of there, which
Yeah.
is really cool. And there was 4,000 edge node type things popped up somewhere in Florida. So
Interesting.
the speculation around that, especially the fact that they're going up and
Up
going
and down.
down,
Yeah, I wonder what the.
is it's probably either Theta testing a new partner that wants to get a whole bunch of edge nodes up and running,
Or
or
they needed to get something done real fast.
yeah, there's something called, I guess, bootstrapping, where they themselves will kind of kickstart with their own edge nodes. They'll get the network actually being able to support streaming and video transcoding more robustly. And then that will drive up the popularity. It'll drive up the incentives. T-Fuel will become worth more.
By their own data center
and
usage
then they'll
for the
pull
time being.
their own edge nodes out as the community.
I wonder if that corresponds with the events they've been putting on. Because it would make sense that they would invest money to make sure that they stream flawlessly for the people that are tuning in.
That's gotta
And then
be,
as soon as it's off, they're going to turn them off because why the hell spend all that extra
They don't
money?
need them. Yeah.
That's a good point. They're kind of testing their fluctuations for when they need to potentially
Throttle
turn things
and
on
turn, exactly.
just for a specific event.
Yeah, see, I was thinking maybe it was testing network capacity for mainnet 3.0, but that actually makes much more sense. What you were
probably
talking about,
a mix
Jeff.
of things.
It probably a mix of things. Definitely testing the network for sure, but that actually makes way more sense. Like we need to make sure that this, NASA live streaming landing on Mars, we got to make sure that
flawless.
cannot go down. So we're just gonna rent out some
Boom, there
data
goes
space
40,000.
and
There goes 80,000. Exactly.
Another actual potential is if they're launching this NFT marketplace, they're going to have to store those somewhere. So they might be figuring out data centers for storing all of that, because eventually they're going to be having decentralized storage, and it'll be split out amongst edge compute as well. But at the moment, they're doing everything they're doing it like a tech company that is kind of keeping the idea of the crypto ethos in the back of their head. I'm not, I'm not a genius with this stuff. I also don't trust everyone endlessly. This could very well just be like investing in an Amazon type company where
tech companies are also not.
You may not have as much as a guardian node. You may not have as much governing power as you think. But honestly, if the way that they're doing things seems to be very agreeable, like I don't know, I'm really curious.
It's very logical. I don't find. It's also very, very.
There's no red flags to me,
right? No, and it's all there. If you want to go and look about how and why, there it is. You can go read it. It's available. It's not like they're hiding things.
They're in the middle of their hackathon where developers are just making apps and just trying to win money for making apps on there, and
Yeah.
I wish I'd gotten into that.
Super, super cool.
Fuck.
Those edge node fluctuations were interesting, and actually Jeff and I were talking. He was watching It's Always Sunny on the Edgecast perfectly, no buffering,
nice,
like as if he was on any other streaming site.
Same with Futurama. I found a Futurama stream, but they I think they only come on like certain times and certain days, but when they are on, they ran flawlessly for me, and it was fantastic. Yeah. Also, that's great background because you're earning T-Fuel while it's on in the background. So I was just playing games while Futurama was kicking it. Yeah. It was sick.
That's cool.
Nice.
So the second last thing I had here in the notes was another thing that people have been bouncing around. There's one more unannounced partnership that has been hinted at as a Fortune 100 company. So a lot of the things point towards Verizon. For a lot of obvious reasons, their involvement in 5G and all of they're one of the big, network companies.
They're one of the world's biggest telecoms. But
if they could get edge computing onto cell phones, that would be a ridiculously advantageous partnership.
Well, the thing is, all these companies are going to be pursuing this anyways. It's whether Theta is going to make it better for them or not. Is kind of where it comes down.
Essentially what I'm saying. Yeah. But it's a good move on Theta's part.
Right. That's the thing. This is the thing that's happening regardless. Whether it's with Theta or someone else remains to be discovered. But at this point in time, seems to be the way
Theta's
the partnership
got the
is going.
For sure. When you've got the enterprise validators and the investors that they have, those people don't, like we've said before, they don't play around. They're going to make sure this is going to be implemented properly.
Yeah, well, and I think everybody's seen the writing on the wall with YouTube. Twitch is its own animal and has yet to be fully tamed, but it's definitely coming. Everybody's looking to be what is next. And definitely something like Theta that's more decentralized, that doesn't rely on centralized server farms, that doesn't rely on centralized data farms, is definitely the way to go, because if something goes down, all of Twitch goes down. If one edge node turns off, Theta TV just keeps on trucking, picks up a new edge node.
They'll just find a new one. What?
Oh,
Right?
Luca's joining us.
It's for content. I think that's definitely far more advantageous than the traditional data center model. It allows you to also make sure that your content can't be
It's a lot harder
lost
to hack
if it's in
it,
one
too.
space as well.
It's not in a
I mean,
central
not that like
location.
YouTube to say that everything's in one location, but think of YouTube as one location. Right? As far as the end user is concerned, your data exists in one spot. And if you get lost access, or it gets deleted or moved or whatever, it's gone.
A perfect example, Andrew Schultz, Flagrant 2 podcast, they had Alex Jones on. That's a show that they don't try and be serious. They're clowning the whole time.
Yeah.
But YouTube doesn't want Alex Jones on.
Oh,
this is what I thought was really funny is, for some reason, they were using YouTube as their backup. Like, they didn't have their own.
Which is just
so YouTube deleted
hilarious.
the Alex Jones episode, and it's gone. They don't have it. They have
gone.
no copy of it. I found that kind of interesting. I was like, all right,
That's funny.
I wouldn't.
That's a ballsy move.
That would have been a great NFT.
Yeah, they said that in the thing.
That would have been a great NFT. I bet
Yeah.
YouTube will put it out eventually. Bet YouTube will put it up on the market
Google
eventually.
owns that now.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I was gonna say they don't fuck around. They'll put it up there for you.
Another one of the things that was interesting about the potential Verizon partnership was one of these node hotspot data farms. The one I think in Florida specifically was really close to something that was connected to Verizon, which is interesting. And one of the main media advisors of Theta is Kyle Okamoto, and he's the chief network officer of Verizon. Like, they've got Twitch, Google,
there's
Sony,
connections all over the place. Yeah.
Samsung, all these people
they're all
advising them. They're going to make sure that they're doing it properly.
Yeah.
It's
And
very
definitely
cool.
partnering with them as the technology gains ground, right?
Yeah.
I have a couple articles here. Again, I like to post all the articles in the show notes and stuff like that, so we're not just reading articles. This one I probably Verizon with 5G and edge computing. I recommend reading it if someone is watching this and wants to learn more. It's kind of thick for us to just talk about it right now.
Dense.
But it's
Yeah. Actually, read it. It's actually really interesting.
and you can see it doesn't talk about Theta in it, but you can see the potentials of where Theta would benefit that.
Yeah.
And another cool thing, the last thing about Verizon, at least this little bundle, was they're releasing these little streaming boxes, kind of like the Fire Stick situation. So that would be the perfect thing to implement an edge cache or some kind of another potential Theta integration.
Comes
Well, just
already installed in
that's the
your
other thing
device.
too. As we transition to new technology, new decentralized content delivery, everybody's got a TV box. Well, what if your TV box wasn't just a TV box anymore? Right now, that's like it's an edge cacher. So it caches content that comes into this. You do whatever. It earns money as it runs. It does these other things. And you can watch your favorite TV shows on it. And when you're not watching it, it still keeps everything as a backup. So Bob down the road, when he wants to watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, he flips it on and he goes Always Sunny and it pops up on his... Because he pays for access to that whatever, right? You could do it that way. You could actually have like a crypto-based Netflix.
Exactly.
There's this doesn't happen quite as often, but I've heard there was a couple of server problems with Disney Plus releases since the pandemic has started and we don't have movie theaters. They've been doing like premieres on streaming.
Yep.
So you'll have hundreds of thousands of people trying to stream the exact same video at the same time.
Right.
So the servers get bottlenecked,
And
but if you
it
were all
just
edge
gets
caching
wrecked.
that to each
It
other,
would just be making it better and better and better. Quality would be getting better and you'd be making more money.
yeah. And this goes
Like,
all the
when
way
we
up
just
to
from the edge
Amazon.
compute thing.
So. Sorry?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, the more you're watching, because you're just adding more bandwidth, or not bandwidth, but you're just adding more compute power, right? And
instead
that's
of
definitely one the things,
100,000.
Like I've noticed that.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that.
And you I'd imagine even in the same household, you've got 4 different people. It would be silly, but it already happens. You got 4 different people in their own rooms watching the exact same thing. You could just edge cache it to each other instead of all pulling it from the same CDN or whatever.
Yeah, one of us pulls it in, the rest of us are just reinforcing the connection.
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's a lot of cool things going on there. There's kind of, I guess, the last thing to talk about, because we like to try and keep this more creative focused. We dive into tech because we're obviously tech based, and but we you know the
Try to keep it light.
yeah, these things are like kind of what you're saying. There's a sense of an inevitability coming with all these things involved, things that are over my head, but it seems like all these things are aligning to work together. So
yeah, high technology is coming whether you want it to or not. Right? It's like not learning about a car when you like riding horses.
Mm-hmm.
Look, man, I'm real sorry, but that car's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. You know, but yeah, like, so we were going to talk a little bit about this partnership you're saying with Ultra, which is like a crypto version of Steam, but it's more like a joint venture between AMD and Ubisoft, right?
Well, those are the I don't know if it's a joint venture, but those are two large
They're staking in it.
Yeah. So what's kind of interesting about cryptocurrencies is they go in these cycles. And right now, pretty much in the beginning, it started with Bitcoin hitting 30,000 at the end of the 2020. So a lot of people started to read about it. So some of these announcements actually were announced last year when Theta was not really pumping at all. It was just trucking along doing its thing.
Yeah, it was just old. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to go through old announcements and see these things that will be new announcements again.
And bearing fruit now for some of those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this company, I haven't done a lot of reading about Ultra yet, but they also have a really supportive fan base and community around them as well. And I believe one of the criticisms with Steam is, as a game developer, there's kind of a gatekeeper situation with getting your stuff on Steam, and they take quite a hefty chunk of your money.
Cut.
Yeah,
they do take quite a hefty cut.
And then with the Steam situation, there's that DRM type stuff where you don't actually own the game. So there's all these issues with things like that. Where
it's why a lot of indie creators don't use Steam. They go with GOG Galaxy or GOG.
Yeah, I have a couple games that are nostalgic to me. I buy off there so I can have them.
Same exact thing. I bought like a bunch of '90s games off of there because I'm like, I want this and I know it'll run.
That up when I get home.
Own it forever.
So what's kind of cool about Ultra is they're going to be kind of trying to solve those issues, building up a community of self-incentivizing and more dev friendly. And because like we were saying at the beginning of this, gamers understand digital assets. We understand how this works. So that's the perfect community to start integrating crypto in. It makes perfect sense to have that, especially with the NFT as in-game assets and the connection to blockchain there. There's it makes a lot of sense. So with Ultra, I guess
beyond the anonymity of cryptocurrency, there is nothing at all different between a Theta token and a Steam dollar. Right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they are functionally the same exact thing. Just one of them is encrypted, the other one is not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one's involved in a complex ecosystem. One is just to represent money, so you can buy
currency.
stuff on it.
Yeah, but like they function the exact same way. So like for digital goods, it makes total sense with gamers. It's an easy transition to make.
Yeah, and time will tell to see what everything actually manifests as. Like,
true.
With crypto stuff, there's what's interesting about. I think that's why they created the Theta token and the T-Fuel token. I believe Theta token is going to be decoupled away from even being used as a currency at all.
No,
you know.
it won't be that.
Yeah.
So
Just a storage for
it's kind of interesting to see all these different companies playing with economics and trying to improve things. I think that's what kind of interested me, as well as the tech opportunities for creatives.
Yeah, trying to redo economics for a more modern system, put some protections back in it.
So kind of just skimming through.
I don't know who I heard it from. They're talking about it as a cryptocurrency being made up money. It's like, well, I mean, come on, we made up money to begin with.
I was gonna
Why not
say,
just have future money be computer made up money?
My thing with that is anyone that
fair
wants,
enough.
Yeah, if anyone that has that opinion isn't 100% wrong, but they should also educate themselves in the history of money, because then they would realize how all these different cultures created. There's certain classifications, and one of them was scarcity, and the it has to be a little bit hard to get. And there's shells that were and big rocks that were lugged around that were impossible.
Giant rocks.
All different things were used as currency for different reasons.
For thousands and thousands of years. Yeah, just because we invented paper money doesn't mean that we invented money.
No.
Bad news for you.
We've
shiny
abstracted
rocks
that
have been
idea,
traded for a real long
years,
time.
Yeah. This is just a far more complex system that's more universally recognized at this point.
Yeah, no, we trade. For Christ's sakes, chimpanzees trade favorite bugs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, we're not alone in doing it, yeah.
We're just hairless apes, man.
100%.
At the end of the day,
Trading
we're just hairless
NFTs
primates.
instead of fancy
Exactly.
bugs.
Yeah. I don't trade my favorite bug smashing rock. I instead trade this water bottle,
But yeah, a couple of the things that we can just kind of talk about quickly with Ultra. Obviously, the in-game assets as NFTs makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
The edge computing for all that different stuff. Game updates.
You're already playing the game, so you're definitely going to be edge computing.
The machine learning, the AI stuff, the edge storage, all the things that Theta's looking to do and obviously they've been partnering with esports pretty much the entire time, so it's a perfect partnership.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that.
Well, it definitely helps them. We were talking about giving away stuff during games, kind of like Twitch does, right? Here's a free thing for Fortnite or whatever, insert game as part of Amazon Prime, but now it's just part of Theta. It's part of, we've partnered with Ultra, and here, during this live release of Far Cry 9, so-and-so is streaming it on the Theta Network, and we'll give out an NFT that represents a copy of the game.
Mm-hmm. It's I'm going to have to look more into Ultra because I'm not a gamer, but I enjoy video games, and they're something that the business around them I find fascinating. It's like pretty much killed every other form of entertainment in terms
Destroyed them.
bringing in money.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And
obviously it's still laughed at.
Yeah.
Hollywood still looks down on it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you over my gigantic stacks of money. But anyway.
Well, yeah, Hollywood's losing to people fucking making Zoom podcasts right now, so they can't talk.
Hollywood's losing to people who floss on TikTok, okay? Like, Hollywood is dead.
Yeah, Hollywood got way too political and ate itself, so... Yeah. The Me Too movement, the Black Lives Matter, it all came to a head, and now they can't get any work done.
Well, like with Hollywood in general, they like to just be in the spotlight. Any means necessary.
There's a reason they're the drama queen.
Yeah. Exactly
Hollywood is itself its own drama queen.
Yeah, they don't care about the actual issues behind all of those things.
No, not a goddamn bit. It's just
but their hands get tied by them, and they can't do anything.
So I guess I've got to read more about Ultra, to be honest.
That's it. I said it put it on my radar. I need to go do a little more research on them because that's definitely something to watch.
It's really cool to see all these companies starting, and so many of these companies sound so promising. I believe all of us are too young to really remember the .com bubble. We were all kids.
Yeah, I was still like in middle school.
Yeah, but apparently there's some older guys that are saying it's similar, where when that was happening, everyone thought they were going to have the new internet company that was going to be the best internet company. So it's really interesting to see the same thing happening with the crypto space, where everything seems like it's going to be the new big thing.
It's sort of Internet 2.0, right?
They're even calling it Internet 3.0, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess 2.0 is like Facebook social? And apps and stuff.
Yeah, you say social media is Internet 2.0. That makes sense. Yeah, that tracks.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like, I believe Ultra isn't even fully launched yet. Like, all these companies are still so
in
young.
Like a beta test, effectively.
So it's really cool. Anyone that's watching this, that is, and that's kind of a point of our podcast too. If you're nervous about crypto, if you're watching this because you see it pop up and you're like, oh, it's creatives talk crypto, it's not make money on crypto, and you're now being like, oh, I'm still nervous about it, just start reading about this stuff, it's not going to
Just read
hurt
stuff.
reading about it. It's more fun than reading about a lot of the other stuff going on, and I find it optimistic. It gives you a little bit of
It's very hopeful.
optimism back.
It's very interesting, and it's like, hey, this is some good stuff. This is interesting use of technology. It's not doom and gloom.
No, man. Dip your toes in. The water's warm.
Yeah.
Come swim with us.
Yeah. Especially, like someone said, I can't remember verbatim, but they're like, if you know how to make an email account, you can download an Edge node and start earning T-Fuel.
Yeah.
If you know how to make an email account and send an email,
It clicks.
Like,
it tells you what to do. It's click command, click command, click
I
command.
reminded of a GIF I saw of a literal orangutan sitting with a tablet and on Instagram and scrolling through Instagram and liking photos and being like, no, I don't like that one, swiping away. Ooh, I like that. Swipe, swipe, swipe. No, I don't like that. Ooh, that's a bunch of candy. I like that. Right? Just like, is this ape using Instagram?
And
Look,
also,
are you dumber than an ape?
I was gonna say,
Is that
and
what
also,
you're telling me right now? Are you dumber than an actual knuckle-dragging ape?
yeah.
Because he can use that application. If you can't do that, you need to take a serious self-look, man.
yeah.
Like, because he can do that. All I'm saying.
Let's see. This one was a bit more of a pop-in because we didn't do one for like a month and a half, and now we're doing a back-to-back week, so we don't have as much built up to talk about. But that was kind of the last thing I had here. So to kind of summarize, we're talking about the NFT Marketplace launching at the end of the month, starting with the World Poker Tour, real-time NFTs.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's starting with just real-time engagement, I believe, but hopefully we'll be evolving into that real-time moments being able to be auctioned off pretty instantaneously, which would be really cool. That'll drive engagement even
that's
more.
super interesting.
If you're like, hey, if you want to for a UFC or something, if you want to see that KO, you're gonna have to watch it to be able to get the chance to actually auction.
Yeah, and
for
it's
the
gonna
thing.
say-
Actually, like, see it.
And it works too because it's like a bidding war. It's like
Yeah.
it's betting, so it's like you got to be there at the right time, and you got to get your bid in. You got to be ready, click the button at the right time to get that moment.
Nobody like to bet like sports people.
It's gonna get my heart rating just thinking
And
about it.
what makes Theta really good as an NFT marketplace is their gas fees are so low, and that was one of the reasons they separated the Theta token and the T-Fuel token, so they didn't have to. One of the difficulties that Ethereum is dealing with is the value of Ethereum went up so much that the cost of using Ethereum also went up a lot.
Right.
So they've separated the gas token, the cost of using the network. They've separated from the governance token of staking.
Right. Okay.
So T-Fuel, the cost to make an NFT or to make a transaction is like 0.000001 T-Fuel or something. So even if T-Fuel goes up to $100 a T-Fuel, which would be absolutely astronomical.
Would
I
be
don't know if that's
amazing.
even possible.
I would love it.
It'd be
ludicrous.
insane. If that were to happen, you'd still be paying like a fraction of a cent per transaction. Like you're never gonna. They're practically free transactions, which makes bidding and buying lots of things. And you can buy a $1 NFT because you're not going to be spending all that money
You're
bidding
spending
on it.
$4 in transaction fees afterwards.
We're all new to this. We're not traders either, so I haven't even experienced that. But there's such a thing as wanting to trade for. There's a swap app called Uniswap. So if you're trying to you got your MetaMask or your Ether wallet or whatever, you connect it to Uniswap. You have your Ether and you want to trade it for a certain token. Say you want to trade it for Theta or T-Fuel. There's a chance that your transaction fails for whatever reason and you lose your gas fee. So you could just spend $50 for no reason.
Yeah, they're just gone.
That'd be a bummer.
Or like,
not to harp on
you messed
Ethereum.
up what wallet?
Everyone harps on Ethereum, and they're making a lot of good progress. They're doing shit, so it is what it is. But that's just, that's one of the benefits.
I mean, that's
of,
anything with
of
crypto,
Theta.
though, right? Like, say I've got a nice hash wallet and I want to send it to my Coinbase. I mistype an O as a 0. It's just gone. Or in somebody else's random ass wallet that they just got a little richer, and they're like, "Oh, neat." But if it doesn't belong to any, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean it's gone? Gone. Doesn't exist anymore. It's just gone.
See ya.
It's
It does drive accountability, which I do find exceptionally refreshing because I work
You have
at
to
a
know
bank.
who you're sending it to, why you're
And
sending it, how you're sending it.
Constantly, we have customers coming in being like, "You should have known. You should have been watching my account." And we're like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
There's millions of you guys. We can't watch your accounts.
Yeah.
You took on the onus
dude,
with
like-
your money."
Yeah.
So I like the accountability.
It's one of those things where
part.
you can't do that because literally you would need one person per one account, and that doesn't exist because you would need more
24
people than
hours a
there
day
are.
just to be watching their shit. They might get to sleep the same time as you, but sometimes you guys are irrational and you wake up in the middle of the night and spend money. Can't be watching that.
Bullshit, man. I don't want my alarm going off at 2 a.m. because you got a munchy run and one. I
Oh,
gotta watch that shit.
We verified the customer. It's okay. They can make the purchase.
Yeah.
I think pretty much everything we've talked about today kind of goes along with reinforcing why Theta is going to be in a really good shape for the next 6 months and why their NFT marketplace will probably be one of the go-to places because you've got these enterprise validator nodes creating your security, they've got people trust them that it's going to be around.
Yep.
You've got these cheap transaction fees. You've got Theta testing their network with scaling it up and scaling it down, and you've got partnerships starting. You've got existing partnerships coming to fruition, and things are being done slowly and methodically. And I guess
there's just lots of great stuff on the horizon.
If you've been watching this podcast and you still haven't downloaded an Edge node, just do it. Just do it, man.
What are you thinking?
Just do it.
You should be able to get one on your... If you don't have a computer or a laptop
anything.
and you only have a phone, you might still have to wait. They might be, But at least...
it might be coming.
I'm sure they're in the works with it. With
at the very
Verizon,
least, if...
Verizon, I should say.
Yeah, just start learning about this stuff. I find it... it's a nice, refreshing break. And it's... I think, as a creative person, kind of what Jeff was saying, you're going to have to get used to more personal accountability, I think. In general, I think with everything we're going to have to get used to more
you have to take personal responsibility.
Yeah. I don't really have any clean way to finish this one off, but I think that's pretty much it.
Sounds like an ending to me, gang. We'll probably see at least once more, probably when the NFT store launches, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to tune in for the World Poker Tour thing.
100%,
I want to see if I can watch some of that. I'm not a huge poker guy, but I just want to see it go down, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be buying any poker NFTs personally, but definitely going to be checking it out, going to be sharing it, going to be supporting it, and really excited. Like we've said a couple times, we're more music guys. We're really excited to see kind of what that Sony partnership does with potentially Sony Music, and what we can do with our musical guests.
Putting on concerts and start doing virtual streams and all that.
Yeah, and hopefully this makes me very optimistic. If Theta's starting to bootstrap the system, hopefully they're gonna leave those nodes up permanently, and that means we can start streaming on Theta because there's gonna be enough nodes. That we should be able to start doing this as a live stream pretty soon, especially because we don't edit this anyways. We're just doing a video call that we post.
You get the raw dog anyway.
Yeah.
So we might as well do it live.
Exactly.
So we'll start doing this live eventually, and then we'll start doing. When we transition into our studio podcast, we'll probably start with that pre-recorded again to get used to the flow, and then we'll start doing that live.
100%.
Just get back into that. But yeah. All right.
The whole thing.
Peace out, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in this week, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Peace out.